Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back, or welcome to another Bangs Audio review. Today, I have, by way of Rogue Gorilla, thank you, Derek, the Myer Audio Sliivo SLT6. I think this is their flagship. I definitely know it's one of the most, it might be the most expensive set that they currently have out on the market at just over $400 on AliExpress right now. Says 58% off, but you guys always know that's a little bit inflated. What would we call this, like 480 regular price ish, something like that. Anyway, it's brushing 500. So that makes it the most expensive set that I've reviewed so far. Yeah, actually. And the first and only all balanced armature set that I've reviewed. So let's get to it. We'll do a quick unbox and specs, and then we'll talk about all of the good things regarding the SLT6. Just going to let the cat out of the bag. It's definitely one of my top sets, and even though I never did, and probably could have several times over now, I never did buy the Dunu SA6 Mark II. If that set had sounded like this set, I would have been fine with the 560 or whatever it is, 480 on sale, I think. I would have been fine with it. So there you go. Sounds like a $500 set. Should sound, in my opinion. So we'll get that out of the way. We'll get into more details. The box is your standard Myer audio box. Nothing different about this. Let me pop my headlamp on a little bit. I replaced the light bulb above my head to get a little bit better light on the product, but that actually has caused a shadow, I can see now. So anyway, outer sleeve, and then your typical slow ramp, Rick and Morty slow ramp. What is that? The Rick's Must Be Crazy episode? Yeah, it's when they go into his car battery. That's worth a watch. That's a good episode. Inside here, you get carrying case, IEMs. This is upside down. An assortment of ear tips, which I do not have, but I'm assuming they're probably par for the course. Pretty good, but not amazing. And then, your cable, which is nicely, modular. So it comes with a 4.4 and a 3.5. The 3.5 is in here. Cable management, little baggy cover for the terminal. This stuff. The usual stuff. So nothing exceptional. This isn't like a massively over the top impressive unboxing experience. I got to admit sometimes that does make me smile a little bit more than when they're like this. But what really matters is obviously the IMs themselves and the cable to an extent. That kind of stuff. So not going to worry about the unbox being slightly underwhelming for the price point. Don't really care. The cable is great, honestly. It feels a little light, which is fine. The ear hooks are not overly aggressive, which is also good. Makes it a little easier to get these guys in your ears because the shape, once they're in, quite ergonomic, but getting them in, a little bit of a challenge from time to time for me anyway, but not a big deal. And the comfort on these is just fantastic. Speaking of comfort, build and etc. The Sliivo SLT6 has a stabilized wood faceplate with some gold shiny stuff in there. It's kind of a nice light wood grain appearance to it. Just a beautiful, absolutely beautiful faceplate. And obviously, your typical medical grade resin, 3D printed for the actual shells, the chassis. You've got moderately large on the diameter of the nozzle, but not super deep, and then a recessed 2-pin connection, which is on the stock cable. It's not super secure, they're not falling off, but little bit loose. But I did replace the cable for some of the testing process, and it didn't seem to have the same issue with let's say, I think the D41 or D62 cable actually worked exceptionally well with them. If anybody has seen my 4.4L, let me know, because I seem to have misplaced it. And then the Yongxi 1947 cable came, and I tried this on it, and the fit on this was perfect as far as the connection point went. But Sonics were a little different. Oh, look, there it is. Fantastic. Okay, it was in there the whole time. Yeah, I won't go into a ton of detail on the Yongxi 1947, but let's just say noticeably softened the treble. I was surprised. I mean, not in a bad way. It just was different. It was way different than I was expecting it, and I wish I could graph it for you guys, but it's only in 4.4, so I cannot. That would have been a fun thing to do. But anyway, back to the SLT6. Yeah, A+ build quality, very attractive on the faceplate. Cable definitely good enough, and the modular termination is appreciated also very much. I also like the L shape on the they did this with the D62 as well, the L shape termination, which allows it to fit in our circular case a lot better. I think honestly, like, these are smart people, the people at Myer Audio, obviously, talented insofar as, you know, their ability to implement and tune drivers. I really do feel like this was sort of taking dead aim at the Dunu SA6 series, be it the 1, the Ultra, the 2, for $100 less every day, $150 less most days or so. Yeah, I can't see how they would not be going after that crowd. But wow, I mean, what a job they did. Someday I'll get a chance to try the SA6 or Mark II or Ultra. I think Ultra was Z-tuned, I think. Anyway, I want the SA6 Mark II because that seems to be the one that everybody really likes. I'd love to put it up against this at some point. But these are going home because I've had them for like 3 weeks. Sorry, Rogue. Sorry, buddy. Hogging your IAMs. Anyway, really nice job on the build, on the accessories, and the case. And turn this off so I don't reflect. There we go. On your specs, custom Sonian composite, custom Sonian standalones, custom Knowles composite. Those are your driver types, brands, and guys, it's Sonian and Knowles. And yes, I understand that not everything that they make is top line, but from what I can tell in this set, they picked some pretty freaking good drivers. You also have tuning switches, which I'll go over when we get to the graph. Input sensitivity, 113 switches down, 116 switches up. And I say switches because we'll get into it. Frequency range, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, Impedance goes from 50 ohms switch down to 65 ohms switch up. So yeah, they take a little bit more power to really get them humming. But I think, you know, I even ran them off of the Kiwi Years Allegro, and that was enough. So not super hard to drive, but a little higher on the impedance, which I feel adds probably a bit to the technical performance of the set, because they're pretty tech-spacular. Wait, tech-spacular. Can I? Tech-stacular? All right, forget it. Anyway, it says 4 tuning styles. My opinion, it's really 2. We'll see that in the graph. And then you've got your cable, yeah, so big specs, 50 to 65 on the resistance or impedance, and 113 to 116 on the sensitivity. Yeah, they're sensitive. I had to set master volume to 21 out of 100 on the old PC here, on the old laptop, in order for it to be in the right range on the graph. And speaking of the graph, let's bring it up and get into our sonic impressions. That's laundry. That's my life. That's my life in the basement. If I'm not listening to IMs or recording review videos, I'm doing laundry. The never-ending train of laundry. All right, here we go. Right. Okay, here are the overlays. Okay. This isn't really how I wanted it to look because it looks a little hilly. But if I adjust this, there we go. Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit better. They really flatten it out. If you look at their, we go back to AliExpress and we look at their graph. Here it is. Yeah, I mean it's the same graph. It's just, you know, it's shrunk this way, sort of flattened out this way. But I feel like I graphed pretty close to what they did. I just like to see a little bit more topography. You know, I'd like to see a little bit more. It gives me a better sense of how the graph is relating, actually, in fact, to how they sound. And in this case, I will say that they sound like the graph for sure. Like this is not a well, it has more bass than that, or it has less bass than that, or it has, you know, doesn't have enough treble, or the ear gain's weird, or whatever. No, this is a set. This doesn't give you how freaking good this set is, but this is how it sounds. It does. So, interesting note. I'll bring the IMs back out here just so you guys know what's going on. It's gonna be hard to see. I understand that. I don't have like a super zoom lens like some folks do, but there are two switches, and the second switch is the one that does the damage, so to speak. So, first switch, up or down, I think it affects the treble a tiny little bit. I could maybe convince myself that when it's up, the treble's a little bit crisper, but yeah, you'll have to do a lot of convincing there. The second switch is where it's at. Switch 2 is your bass control. So when it's up, and when it's down, it's down. And there's a solid 2 decibel bump in the bass when you have that switch up, which is how I preferred it. I loved it with that bass switch up, and it was still good with it down. You know, like if you don't want to have this level of bass all the time, you want a little break from it, you change in genres or whatever, flip that second switch down on each side, obviously, and you get a little bit more balance, a little bit more treble focus, a little cleaner in the mid-range, but the rest of it, you know, from like 1K up is pretty much identical. Here's that little boost way up here above 14K. Yeah, I don't know. It shows on the graph. That's with the switch up and switch down for a switch. I couldn't tell much of a difference. No surprise there. But anyway, so yeah, the second switch is your bass control switch, and up is on and down is off, and that's pretty cool. Insofar as ear gain goes, I found it to be pleasantly mild, and not like, I know sometimes that this energy here, like I like it a little bit higher, but in this set, it's got the release. It has this little bump around 4.5K to give it a little sparkle, you know, just a little bit of a boost in the treble, and then it extends out very nicely. So it's not like screaming at you, obviously. That's not a screaming ear gain, but it is energetic enough where it doesn't feel flat, and it doesn't feel like recessed, you know, it doesn't feel like distant. So I think that the tuning on this set really, again, is just a masterful job by Myer Audio. Once you guys hear these sets, and you guys that have heard them know what I'm talking about, you can't unhear them. And I'm borrowing that from one of my lovely subscribers who said that. Like, once you hear this sound signature, you can't unhear it. And if you like it, you can't get enough of it. And the SLT6 just falls right in line with that. It has the Myer Audio house sound, for sure. Like, I could probably pick this out blind from a lineup of, you know, I'm not saying I'm that good, but I probably could. I'd be like, that's a Myer Audio set. I might not be able to name it as the SLT6 because who the hell was expecting that much bass? But again, it has the Myer DNA in the sound signature. So if you're a fan of that, you're going to love it. It's got the driver quality that you're looking for in Sonian and Knowles. It's got a great tuning to it. It's got nice extension in the treble. It's got a very immersive sound stage. It's got rumbly sub bass. It's got pretty slamming mid bass. nice decay into the mids, so the mids don't feel like they're covered, and then this gradual rise in the ear gain, which is just really pleasant. Honestly, it's just really pleasant. This is an extremely well balanced tuning, even more so with the bass switch off, but still very well balanced with the bass switch on, and just a lovely, really enjoyable, really easy listen, but technical enough, I think, to justify the price point, and clear enough. Like, clarity is my big thing. I think that's going to be my word for 2025 is clarity. That's what I really look for in IAMs now, and they can be tuned differently. I can still appreciate different tunings, but I need that clarity. I don't want a veiled treble. I don't want a muddy bass. I don't want a recessed mid-range. I want some clarity and some detail throughout the frequency response. So balance and clarity this set has in spades, and God, it just sounds so freaking good. It really does. I took some days, to warm up to it. It was the holidays. I didn't have my full attention. Obviously, family, kiddos out of school for a couple of weeks. Had a great time with him. He had an awesome Christmas. We lost his drone, but I ordered him another one, so we'll be fine. That was Dad's fault. It was a little too windy, and it went up, and it went gone. I looked for it, guys. I did. I ran after it. I lost sight of it. Thought I found it again. Didn't. Yeah, it's just gone. It's off in the woods somewhere. But anyway, we fixed it. We got a nicer drone with a GPS locator coming. So other than that, it was a fantastic holiday run for the family. But yeah, it did leave me a little bit behind the 8 ball on reviews. I've got a bunch of sets, on hand or coming that have gotten to, and including the FT1 Pro, and now the Fidelio X3 and the K11 R2R, BGVP Feather, NS10 Pro, Shanling Tino. See if it's better than the Sono. That's on the way. EPZ P50. Kindly EPZ sending me that. So yeah, we got lots of stuff to do. Holy crap. But before we get to any and all of that, the 2 sets that I have borrowed from Rogue Gorilla will get done, starting with the SLT6, which gets a full highly recommended, even though it is over $400. I think it's worth the price. I think if the Dunu SA6 Mark II sounds like this, I'm happy paying close to $600 for it. So that's definitely a full recommend. Yeah, and the ISN H60 will be coming up shortly as well. So that's another killer set. I realize I've been kind of up higher than normal in the price range, guys. We will be bringing that back down to earth over the next few weeks. Definitely got some under 100 sets or near to $100 sets coming up, and a couple in the 150 range, and just to try to we've all probably overspent during the holidays, so we're going to try to bring it back down to the more reasonable area coming up in the next few weeks, as I said. So yes, the Sliivo SLT6 gets a full highly recommended from me. It does slide into maybe not the brain melting category. That's a personal choice because I still prefer the DD hybrids, I think, over a straight BA set. But I tell you something, once I got used to it, it was just so good. Impossible to deny how good this set is. So it's at least a truly special. If I end up picking it up and get to know it even more, it might slide into my top tier as far as the the tier rankings go. But for now, truly special, highly recommended, amazing. $400 if you got it to spend. You could do a lot worse than the Sliivo SLT6, folks. It's a hell of a set. All right, that's going to do it for today. I'll see you on Wednesday. Just going to take 2 days because I've already listened to the H60 quite a bit. So I'm almost ready to go on that review anyway. Maybe if I feel like it, I'll do it tomorrow. We'll see. But anyway, in the next couple of days, ISN H60 comes up. For now, be careful, be safe, be nice. Love y'all. Nothing but peace to you. See you soon.